Beloved brothers and sisters, how are you today?
제1527차
I sincerely welcome you to this 1527th Gi-seong CheonBo Special Workshop.
환영합니다. 요즘 코로나19
These days, the world is facing a new round of difficulties and challenges from the COVID-19 pandemic.
30만 명이 감염돼
Worldwide,
1,000명이
more than 200 million people have been infected with the virus,
부모님
and 4 million have lost their lives to the disease.
위로해드리는 이 시간이
I hope that our time together we can comfort the heart of Heavenly Parent and two parents who are suffering such sorrow as hundreds of thousands of people are infected and thousands die every day from the coronavirus. It is my sincere hope that all of the Cheonyeoguk leaders and blessed families around the world who have been working so hard to support True Mother can join together during this time today and pray to heaven with one heart.
수련회도 3만여 명이 접수해
And I hope that you can overcome this suffering and be victorious during this time under the protection of Heavenly Parent and True Parents. Because of the new upsurge in corona cases here in Korea, we are not able to move around easily, but 30,000 people are registered for this workshop. To conform with Korea's government's new Level 4 social distancing guidelines, it became necessary for us to conduct this workshop on a reduced scale. We ask for your understanding of the situation.
이날 수련원 임원들이
Beloved brothers and sisters, this past July 12th was the 50th anniversary of the very first workshop held at the training center. To mark the occasion, we gathered and offered prayers of gratitude. And even though it might not be much, we made an offering to demonstrate our desire to return glory to the true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind, who have worked so hard to create and keep this place. Our Creator, Heavenly Parent, is absolute, eternal, constant, and unchanging. This means that His will is absolute and must be completed. That is why we can read in Revelation 22:13, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. And it means that He has promised the purpose of creation set out at the beginning of the world will absolutely be completed without fail. Heavenly Parent's purpose of creation was that the first human ancestors, Adam and Eve, complete the four-position foundation and form a God-centered family, and that would expand to the tribe, people, nation, and world for one cosmic family centered on God, establishing the kingdom of heaven on earth and in heaven. However, because the human ancestors Adam and Eve fell and could not become the true parents of humankind, the work of the providence of restoration through indemnity has been conducted to recreate Adam and Eve in order to once again find the true parents. That is why, after establishing and guiding the descendants of the father of faith, Abraham, as the people chosen to meet and support him, Heavenly Parent sent His only begotten Son, Jesus Christ, as the next Adam, after preparing for 4,000 years. However, because of the lack of faith of the people of Israel, Jesus was hung on the cross and died, and the providence was delayed. After that, during the 2,000 period on the extended providence, a foundation was completed for the only begotten Son, the second coming of Christ, to be sent again, along with the next Eve, the only begotten daughter, to be born on earth. This time, True Father came as the return of the only begotten Son, and True Mother was sent as the first advent of the only begotten daughter. In line with heaven's providence, miraculously, the only begotten Son and the only begotten daughter met, and in 1960, on the 16th day of the third month by the lunar calendar, the marriage supper of the Lamb was held. In this way, the incorporeal Heavenly Parent could take on the flesh, and through the holy wedding, true parents appeared on the earth. It was a glorious day when the pain of history could be released after a wait of 6,000 years, starting from true parents. Families, tribes, and nations could be recreated anew. For such a glorious day as this, Heavenly Parent made very careful preparations. In order for true parents to be received and accepted on the national level, Heavenly Parent very carefully prepared a national level foundation to receive the Messiah centered on the Korean people. Heavenly Parent prepared a foundation, completely restored through indemnity, for True Father to come in the restored position of Jesus and to uncover the new truth, and also prepared Spirit-led Christian groups to support and follow Him, making all the preparations for the marriage supper of the Lamb. However, due to the lack of faith of the leaders of the Christian groups who were in the able position, instead, True Father had to go a thorny path of suffering. Because the Providence could not be prolonged any further, the marriage supper of the Lamb, two parents' holy wedding, was held, despite the loss of the foundation. It should have been a grand wedding held on a national level foundation in a palace, but instead, the marriage supper of the Lamb, which was of the most cosmic and glorious significance, was held at the humble headquarters church on the hill in Cheongpadong. Even though this holy wedding of cosmic significance, a joyous occasion that Heavenly Parent had looked forward to and prepared for through 6,000 years, it was not possible to get a wedding dress for True Mother, so she had to wear a white chimichogori with a wedding veil. I think there's nobody who knows what True Mother was feeling at that moment. She has mentioned that this regret still lies in her heart. The marriage supper of the Lamb. The holy song that the members sang as they waited and prepared the atmosphere was Song of the Garden. Professor Yang had discovered this song, which was Southern folk hymn, but the author was unknown. But it is a very high-spirit song with a holy feeling. Before she joined the church, one of the other early members, Shin-woo Kim, Lady Dr. Kim, used to go to one of Korea's well-known mountains to offer prayer jungsong. One day, as she was closing her eyes to pray, an angel appeared to her and taught her the Song of the Garden, saying that it was a song about the kingdom of heaven on earth. She thought she was the only person who knew that song, and she sang it by herself. But then, later, when she joined the Unification Church, she was amazed to see that all the members were singing it. This Song of the Garden, which is even sung by angels in heaven, is truly a spiritually blessed and holy song. The Lord into his garden comes. The spices yield a rich perfume. Now when I sing this song at Cheonsim-won, I replace Lord with True Parents. That is because the Lord cannot achieve the restored garden alone, only if he meets the prepared bride and they hold the marriage supper of the Lamb, making the advent of true parents a reality. In order to give rebirth with new life, true love, and true lineage, the Messiah must not come alone, but as parents, as true parents. This is the only way the Messiah can give full rebirth with spiritual and physical life. True parents come to the garden. The spices yield a rich perfume. Refreshing showers of grace divine from true parents flow to every vine. Oh, this dry and barren ground in springs of water may abound. The desert blossoms as a rose when true parents conquer all their foes. And we see Cheonyeolguk come. We see Cheonyeolguk come. All of you who are true parents' child, come taste the sweetness of their world. And true parents' ways go on. And parents' ways go on. While conducting the providence of recreation, Heavenly Parent prepared the Garden of Restoration in advance so that it could be rediscovered through the true parents. After their holy wedding, as true parents completed the first 7-year course, they established True Parents' Day, True Children's Day, Day of All True Things, and on that victorious foundation, on January 1st, 1968, they established Heavenly Parents' Day. During this time, this Cheongpyeong land was hidden from all eyes. It was a special place among special places, and only its true owners, true parents, were able to find it and recognize how special it is. A few years ago, a monk who was having tea at the Hyojeong Cafe said, "It would be really great if I could practice my faith on that hill over there. President Lee, please, let me build a temple on that hill." Later, True Mother built the Hanwhan House tea house on that very spot that the monk had pointed out. Now anybody who wants to can come there and meet God and inherit heavenly fortune as they drink a cup of tea. These days, I see many well-known people from all walks of life visiting there to meditate and enjoy the beauty of the place as they admire and commend true parents.
심지어는
Even leaders who have lived here in the Gapyeong area all their lives exclaim that they did not know such a beautiful place existed here.
찬양하는 것을 보게 됩니다. 사랑하는
Beloved brothers and sisters,
참
where did true parents drop their anchor?
밭을 내리실 것인가?
After wandering through all the mountains and rivers in Korea, finally, 50 years ago, they chose a gravel field on the bank of the river, leading to a steep hillside with a stand of mulberry trees. They pitched a tent there and began to offer Gi-seong, found a way to purchase the land, and then, in the middle of the heavy summer rainy season, they built and dedicated the original sanctuary on July 12, 1971, and the history of Cheonbo Works began. And then, while offering bone-wrenching Gi-seong, they worked to purchase more land in the area and started building the Garden of Restoration. In order to offer their cooperation for this cosmic work, ancestors of the people who were living in the area began to send them dreams and messages, saying, "You have to sell this land." This holy ground was found and created with the close cooperation of the spiritual and physical realms. True parents used to come here whenever they could find the time. After returning to Seoul late at night from visiting other areas, they would get up very early in the morning to come here. And sometimes they would suddenly decide to come here at night before returning to Seoul. They had more love for this land than anybody else, and when they were here, they could commune deeply with the Creator, Heavenly Parent. Father said that he could not remember how many times he had gone up to Sungin Peak, thrown himself on the ground, and prayed desperately, in tears, about how to accomplish the providential mission. This is the place where true parents invested their whole hearts in prayer and Gi-seong with life or death determination, putting together their plans for the global providence. The second stage of the CheonBo Providence began in the training center's 25th year in 1995. In 1995, the day before the 360,000 couples blessing, the families of Chungmo-nim, Dae-hyung-nim, and Dae-mo-nim, who had made the most significant contributions to the advent of true parents, were blessed as spiritual couples. The same year, starting from January 19th, Cheonbo Works began to separate the spirits who had come to earth to borrow the bodies of blessed members. Hung-ji-nim, who had been sent to the spirit world representing father, and Dae-mo-nim, who was sent to the spirit world to represent mother, together they conducted the works of the substantial Holy Spirit, standing in place of true parents. Hung-ji-nim and Dae-mo-nim taught the spirits who were separated during the Chanyang about Heavenly Parent's purpose of creation, about the fall, and about the providence of restoration in a training center in the spirit world that they had created. In order to bring the liberated spirits to understand how precious true parents are, they attended divine principle training sessions in the spirit world, and finally they had learned enough to participate in a marriage blessing for spirits. That historic blessing was held on November 29, 1997 at RFK Stadium in the Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States. Together with the marriage blessing of 40 million couples on the earth, 1.6 billion spirit couples, 3.2 billion spirit people also received the blessing that day. Anybody whose spiritual eyes were open that day must have seen an amazing sight. Then, the following year, on June 13, 1998, during the first phase of the 360 million couples blessing at Madison Square Garden in New York, a spirit world and physical world blessing for 120 million couples, including spirit world, physical world blessings of 5 great saints in the spirit world, and spiritual blessings for 34 major historical figures representing the heavenly side and the satanic side. Starting from this time, the blessing was open to everyone in the entire cosmos, on earth and in heaven. Later, in 1999, the 40th year following the holy wedding, on January 12th, true parents granted the first ancestor liberation ceremony for the first to 7th generations of direct ancestors of the blessed families, and the liberation of ancestors began. And then, on December 12, 1999, the blessing was opened up to 7 generations of ancestors, creating a great atmosphere of hope for the beginning of the new millennium. Then, on February 13, 2000, along with the first phase of the blessing of 400 million couples, with the spirit world blessing of true parents' daughter Haejin with Young Shin-ra and 100 other second and third generation blessed children who had ascended before being blessed, the way was open for spirit world blessings of ascended single people. Finally, in 2019, the 21st year since the start of Ancestor Blessings, while moving toward victory in Vision 2020, a new special grace was given to allow the blessing of ancestors up to generation 430 as part of the Heavenly Tribal Messiah mission to bless 430 couples horizontally and 430 generations of ancestors vertically. True Mother also gave a special opportunity for anybody who wants to become a CheonBo family to be able to complete the blessing up to 430 generations. Even people who had joined the church recently, if they just had enough faith. Brothers and sisters who are participating in this Hyeojang special workshop, the souls in the spirit world who have not met true parents are like orphans without parents. No matter how good their status may be in the spirit world, if they do not know true parents, they cannot enter the family realm of the spirit world. They cannot be with their spouses or their families. If they want to meet each other, they cannot meet whenever they want. This is one reason why so many of the most holy people of the past have lived celibate lives. And now they are wandering and lonely in the spirit world without a familiar face or a place to stop and rest. But if they meet true parents, they can be cleansed of all their sins, and they can be moved from Satan lineage to God's lineage, and they can live together in Heavenly Parents' house or True Parents' house. Now it is possible to dwell together as families in the spirit world. We are truly living in the Aju, our home era. This benefit cannot be bought for billions of dollars. No holy person in the past has had the authority to make this kind of thing possible. Only true parents have the ability and authority to make this happen. This means that true parents are the only hope for those in hell on earth and on hell in the spirit world. That we have been born in true parents' era and can breathe the same air and walk the earth at the same time as them is truly a miracle. And to have been chosen and to have received the blessing directly from true parents is a miracle among miracles. Because it is a miracle just to have received this blessing through parents, but they have also given us the blessing that we can become blessed central families and share the blessing with people around us as heavenly tribal messiahs. They have given us the grace to witness to people on earth and give them the blessing and liberate our ancestors. The people who go to the spirit world after completing this mission can stand up with great pride and joy in the spirit world. Reverend Sang-jin-oh, the leader of Heavenly Korea Subregion 2, gave this testimony about his father who has ascended to the spirit world. During the night after the special gathering with true parents, when we received the Hyeojang-won, my father came to me in a dream. He held my hands firmly, with tears streaming from his eyes, and he said, "Oh, my beloved Sang-jin, thank you. I am here in the spirit world now, but while I was on the earth, you worked so hard and liberated and blessed our ancestors. For the sake of your family and for your mother and me, you blessed 430 couples, and now you have even provided a Hyeojang-won where we can live. Because of this, I could hold up my head in front of True Father when I came to the spirit world. Thank you so much." My colleagues and friends who came to the spirit world without liberating and blessing their ancestors, and blessing 430 couples, and preparing the Hyeojang-won for their ancestors, cannot hold up their heads in front of True Father. They really envy me. This is what my father said, with tears in his eyes. After this dream, I had a deep realization of how important it is to liberate and bless our ancestors, to bless 430 couples, and to prepare a Hyojeon-won for them to live in.
이런 강정을
This is the testimony the Reverend gave.
사랑하는 제 1527일
1527th workshop trainees, Jesus can give spiritual salvation to those who believe in him, but the salvation we receive from true parents is complete physical and spiritual salvation. Through their blessing, we can receive not only the hope of life in heaven after we die, but life in the kingdom of heaven on earth while we are still living. That's why it is written in chapter 16, verse 19 of Matthew's Gospel, "Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." This explains to us that the kingdom of heaven in the spirit world will not be created until we create the kingdom of heaven on earth. Therefore, we can read this amazing passage on pages 807 to 808 in Cheonsim-won. Because he was crucified, Jesus could not become the true parent with the physical body. Jesus is limited to the spirit world, making only spiritual salvation possible. He did not accomplish physical salvation, namely redemption for the sins committed in the flesh. Accordingly, Christianity has only had a spiritual father and spiritual mother, Jesus and the Holy Spirit. Therefore, when the true parents come, we will need to be born anew through them, conditionally or symbolically re-entering the womb of the mother.
이런 놀라운 말씀을 주신 것입니다. 그리고
In order to give complete physical and spiritual salvation, true parents looked for the perfect place for rebirth, and the place they found was this Hyojeong Training Center.
자리가 바로 HJ 천주 천보 수련하는 것입니다.
That is why true parents have told us that this is the place for all the people of the world to become reborn. Therefore, all people on the earth must fulfill their portion of responsibility so that they can come here to the HJ Heaven and Earth CheonBo Training Center and develop their spirit body and participate in their spiritual revival. In particular, it is very important to separate the spirits who have returned and are dwelling within our bodies like parasites. If we do not separate them, they can control us without us realizing and use our bodies to produce their self-centered interests. That's why the Apostle Paul explained, "But I see another law at work within me, waging war against the law of my mind, and making me a prisoner of the law of sin at work within me. What a wretched man I am! Who will rescue me from this body that is a subject of death?" And in Romans 7:23 to 24, again, he lamented in Romans 8:7, "The mind governed by the flesh is hostile to God. It does not submit to God's law, nor can it do so." If the physical body is occupied by an evil spirit, it is easy for the spirit, the soul, to be influenced as well. That is why many religious people have ended up in the fires of hell, despite trying earnestly to live a righteous life. Therefore, first, our blessed members must restore the spirits who have borrowed their bodies and are dwelling there. Because immature spirits borrow a body so that they can receive life elements and participate in spiritual growth. Without even knowing it, you may be occupied by spirits who have a similar character as you. The good spirits do good works, and the evil spirits do evil works. Sometimes many spirits inhabit a person's body at the same time. When many spirits enter someone, that person might end up doing strange things. Because they have borrowed that body and made it their home, the spirits do not depart easily. For example, in Luke 8, talks about a soldier in the province of Gerasnes that Jesus met. This soldier had been possessed for a long time and lived in a tomb naked. But Jesus chased the spirits out of him.
그때 그 속에 들어있던 군대 귀신을 예수님은 돼지 무리에게 내쫓았습니다.
Jesus sent the spirits into a herd of pigs,
뛰어넘어 바다에 빠져
and the pigs ran off a cliff and drowned in the sea.
2천여 마리.
However,
그런데 참
true
부모님께서는
parents do not
돼지의
just
씨를
cast
바다에
the spirits
빠져
out of people.
내쫓으시는
No matter how evil the spirits are,
악한 영이
true parents lead them to the Spirit World Training Center so that they can receive the blessing and be saved.
집으로 인도하는 것입니다. 이로써
They are guided to true parents' house. In 2 Peter, verse 3, we can read, "But do not forget this one thing, dear friends. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day. The Lord is not slow in keeping his promise, as some understand slowness. Instead, he is patient with you, not wanting anyone to perish, but for everyone to come to repentance."
참 부모님이십니다. 이 말씀을 이루시기 위한 방법이 바로 천보 찬양 역사.
This is the work of the Hyojeong Cheonbo Chanyeong Yoksa.
항상
Therefore, all blessed families will always have to live a life of liberating themselves first, with the heart that they are liberating thousands of spirits from many in the world.
그러므로 축복 가정
While the second and third generation blessed children are growing up in the environment of the fallen world, they can become occupied by evil spirits.
적어도
That is why all of them should do the 40 days workshop at least 3 times.
부모님께서는 말씀하신 것입니다.
It is not just that they should attend any kind of 40-day workshop.
완전히 분립하고
They need to attend CheonBo's special 40-day workshops in order to be completely separated from the spirits. Last year, a second-generation daughter from a 6,000 couple family suddenly became possessed and came to the training center.
아버지가 6살
Her dad had died when she was 6 years old, and her mother raised 3 children. The second-generation girl attended church until middle school, but then became separated from her religious life while she was studying abroad.
그러던 어느 날
But then one day she was diagnosed with a panic disorder, and a spiritual phenomenon occurred.
그 몸 안에 있던
Spirits
영적인
began possessing her body. Many spirits entered her body, including a young man who had died while drunk,
떠돌이 생활하던
a young woman who was a shaman, a spirit who died while living a lonely, wandering life, a baby spirit who died of starvation, a young virgin who died by hanging herself, and a young man who had died in a car accident. As so many spirits possessed her, she became crazy.
말로 이성을 잃어버린
These evil spirits could enter the body of the second-generation girl because she had made a condition and attracted them through specific thoughts that she had.
기준이 맺어지면
Therefore, we must remember that our mindset we have on earth is very important.
그러므로 세상에서 어떤 마음을 먹고 살아가는 것이 얼마나 중요한지 선한 생각, 뜻을 위한 생각을 하면 선영이 찾아올 것이요.
If we think about good things and God's will, good spirits will find us. But if we think about evil things, evil spirits will find us.
이 딸을 불쌍히 여기고
The mother of this second-generation girl felt that it was quite unfortunate that her daughter could not stay at the training center because it was closed due to corona.
60일 동안
So she got a room in Soragmyeon, and with the counseling team's support, for 160 days she did Chanyeong and Jeongseong at the Cheonsim-won. Now all of those spirits have left her, and she could start afresh.
참 어머님께서 부흥백화점에
This past July 14th, True Mother came to the Buhung department store. True Mother said that a second-generation member from Cheonan Church had come to Cheonsim-won and prayed and received tremendous grace. That young man had been living a dedicated life of faith. However, as things became difficult with his blessing, he became severely depressed and began to have spiritual experiences. As he was tormented by the pain, he went to visit a noted Korean spiritualist who performed a liberation rite for him. But after that, things became even worse.
더욱 힘들어지게 되었습니다.
He was then advised the only way to solve his problems was to study and become a shaman himself. And the powerful spirits working within him identified themselves as General Baekdu, General Byeosung, and a famous shaman.
역사한 일이 벌어졌습니다. 그러다가
Finally,
오균호
Under the guidance of district leader Yeon Ho-ok and elder Deok-soo Kim, he completed the liberation and blessing of his ancestors with the money he had earned himself, and participated in liberation ceremonies 13 times to release the central spirits that were dwelling with him, and he experienced them as they departed. During the last CheonBo special workshop, he heard the sound of wind as spirits departed from his body, and finally he was completely cleansed from the spirits. I have heard that he has been offering Jeongseong and participating in Hundokwae to prevent any spirits from occupying him further. As she said, the moment that he prostrated in the Cheonsim-won to pray, he heard a voice saying, "Do you realize that true parents are the most precious people in human history?" And after hearing this, he remained prostrate on the floor for 2 hours, sobbing and sobbing in repentance. There have been many people who have offered testimonies about how miserable they were when they discovered that even though, as members of the second generation, who are supposed to be the dwelling place of God, they had become the home of Satan. Brothers and sisters, unprincipled and abnormal behavior in blessed families and the second and third generations reflects the spirit world behind them. Without clearing up such issues, we cannot expect the work of good spiritual world to support us. Many unhappy and unsuccessful lives throughout society are also showing the results of the presence of evil spirits. CheonBo Chanyang Yoksa is what is needed to clean up those evil spirits.
이런 현상들이 자기 부모나 형제를 벌레처럼 생각하는 현상들이 벌어지고 있는 것은 바로 악한 영들의 재림 역사에
To separate evil spirits, immature spirits, resentful spirits,
이러한 시대에 천보
we must completely liberate ourselves.
당신의 역사를 정리해주는 한없는
Spiritually and physically, we must purify ourselves through participating in CheonBo Chanyang sessions.
원한의 영들을
As many as 430 or even 4,300 times.
천보 찬양 역사를 통해서
This is the way to clean up your spiritual background so that you can be completely liberated, spiritually and physically.
영적 육적으로 완전히 해방된 자아가 되어야 되는 것입니다. 그렇게
Chanyang Yoksa is the way for us to be completely saved, spiritually and physically. The foundation that made this possible is due to the untiring investment made by the true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind for our sake.
기반이 이루어진 것입니다.
They have opened the age when anybody who prays at Cheonsim-won with absolute faith, absolute love, and absolute obedience to the true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind will be able to find the solution to all their problems. We have entered the age of automatic work by the unified spirit world centered on the true, holy, and virtuous Emperor of Cheonil-guk, who reigns over myriad peoples and is triumphant on all levels. And branch training centers have been established on every continent.
이 천보 역사가 진행되어
True parents have entreated us
감정들이
not to miss the opportunities of this age. This is reflected in the new name that they have given to this place.
역사에 처음으로 주어진 이 놀라운 시대적인 혜택을 유린하지 말라고 하셨습니다. 그리고 이것은 천부모지 천부원 만백성지
This is now the Heavenly Parents' CheonBo One, a garden of revival for all humanity. Because seeing is believing, those who come here and get a glimpse of the kingdom of heaven, true parents have directed that anybody who takes a tour of Cheonwon-gung, they should be ready to register as a member so that they can participate in heaven on earth.
하늘 부모님의 뜻은
Beloved Hyojung Special Workshop participants, Heavenly Parents' will shall absolutely be fulfilled. This is because the Creator, Heavenly Parent, has destined it absolutely and is working through the providence to fulfill it. You have learned that the fulfillment of God's will depends on people completing their portion of responsibility. That responsibility is doing family church and heavenly tribal Messiah activities.
할수록
The more we witness and complete our heavenly tribal Messiah mission on the earth, the closer we come to the day when that will can be fulfilled. And as we liberate and bless more ancestors, the number of absolute good spirits in the spirit world continues to grow greater and greater.
상에서
An incredibly immense spiritual background is being formed. You need to bless one line of 430 couples on the earth, and you need to set up 8 lines in the spirit world through ancestor liberation and blessing. And also, you must set up one line of 430 families through collateral blessings and liberation and blessing of the spirits who have returned and occupied your body through Cheonyeon Yoksa and Cheonsim-won prayer. When you do this, you will have 10 lines, 4,300 families. The people of Israel received the grace of being able to leave Egypt and return home after a period of 430 years. After the people of Korea reached year 4,300 on the Tangun calendar, which was 1997, upon the foundation which was prepared for Heavenly Parents' Day, the land for the holy place of liberation, Hyeojung Cheonwon, was revealed. We have the responsibility to set conditions to establish the number 4,300 so that we can receive complete physical and spiritual salvation. Our answers will all be released from the dark places in the spirit world where they are trapped, and we can set up the gate to the kingdom of heaven. Brothers and sisters, I want to congratulate for participating in this 1527th workshop. I hope that all of you will register for every workshop if there is any possible way, so that you can liberate your central spirits, offer Jeonsong to make your spirit self completely clean without any flaws or blemishes, and become registered CheonBo families and residents of Cheonyeoguk. Thank you very much.